Hi everybody, Scott Kelby here. You're live on the grid, and joining me as always is a man who is more beautiful than you can possibly imagine. I know he looks very attractive like on a small screen, but sitting next to him, he's absolutely stunning. Devastatingly handsome. Really, I'm straight out just telling you, he's a good looking man. Matt Klaskowski.
I don't even know what to say to that.
Nobody does. Well, hey, it's good to see everybody. Thank you guys for coming here. Hey, you know what? I love nothing more, and if I may just speak out of turn here.
Is it me?
No, you're good. But if there's one thing I love is to look like at the teleprompter and it's absolutely black. There's nothing on it. I have no idea what to say. It's just black. It's just...
I was just thinking that. I looked over at it because I realized I was looking, because we're not supposed to look at the screen.
We're not supposed to look at the screen over there. We're supposed to look at
this is what it looks like when we look at the screen. But it's a screen of us.
No, the teleprompter doesn't tell us what to say. It just gives us an order, so we know what's next. And without it, we're like, oh. So anyway,
it's back.
It's back now. It just came on. It's cool that they turned it on. Anyway, welcome everybody. We have a very good show for you today. Well, it could be. First thing I want to tell you about is we are just like, a month and a half away from Photoshop World in Atlanta, which is, I almost said Orlando.
I know,
it's Atlanta. It's our first time ever in Atlanta, and we're very, very excited, of course. Atlanta is a wonderful town. I'm going to show you a little quick, short, little clip about it if you don't know what Photoshop World is. Check that out, and when we come back, we're going to jump into our topic today. Here it is. Check it out.
I can't wait to do this again.
Hey, we're back. So, as you probably guessed, we got a pirate theme going on this year. Every year we pick a different theme. Last year we had like a Top Gun theme in our opening movie and everything. It was all based on Top Gun. The stage looked like a hangar. Everything had a Top Gun military. It was cool. And this year we got a pirate theme. So that's henceforth all the piratey stuff. Hey, just real quick. Don't know if you saw the grid last week, but it was hands down one of our best episodes ever. I went on my blog and posted quotes from people talking about, it was Joe McNally. Joe was so good. Joe's
always good on the grid.
I know he's always good, but he was that
but
next level. I mean, it was like he did tape the class for us last week, and then we kind of picked up where that class left off. And Joe just, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. Okay, giveaways, real quick. We're gonna give away my Photoshop for Lightroom users book. It's my latest book. It's my thinnest book. Show how thin it is, Matt. It's super thin. Look at that. Oh my gosh, because I only teach you just that little bit you need to know about Photoshop for Lightroom users. Also, we're going to give away a full year of KelbyOne online training, so hope you win. Okay, our topic today is, should photographers be licensed to practice as professionals? You know, that's a fair question. And we're going to take a short break, and then I'm going to lead you into the whole thing, how this topic got started, because it started on Twitter, but I want to let you in on a conversation that we went back and forth on, and that's when I realized, and I called Matt and said, dude, this is a good topic because it's something that people are talking about, and man, does it just bring out opinions
yeah.
all over the place. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we really do want your comments. Your comments are already coming in. I just want to say, Ben Parsley, we're reading yours first. Dude, you're really...
He kind of sums it up.
He sums it up really well in just a couple of sentences. But don't go away. We'll take a break. In 30 seconds, we'll be right back here live on The Grid. Stick around. Okay, we're back. Scott Kelby here with Matt Klaskowski. Hey, that sound you're hearing is rain. It is just right before we went in the air. It started pouring rain. And there is Juan has told us there's lightning. It's like thunder. Lightning. The way you love me.
I knew it was coming.
Frightening. But Juan says, what, the 50% chance the power will go out? Do you have generators, Juan? Do we have anything? No? No generators. Okay. So here's how this thing started. First, Matt, you're going to be in Houston teaching Lightroom on the 17th. Yes,
I am. Monday. Yeah, this coming Monday I'll be.
This coming Monday?
Yeah, this coming Monday I'll be in Houston.
Texas.
And
woo!
Wednesday, March 5th, I'll be in LA.
In LA.
I'm teaching a WPPI on March 4th, and then finding my way over to LA and teaching Lightroom on March 5th. So.
Well, look at you. You're such a...
Come visit. And then you got Tampa. You got hometown February 21st and Atlanta, which is almost hometown.
Hey, by the way, my Tampa
flight.
seminar sold out today.
Is it?
And they are reconfiguring the last couple of rows so we can get a couple more people in because it's not for 9 more days and we're already sold out.
Holy cow.
So anyway, Atlanta though, I'll be in Atlanta 3 days later. Get your Atlanta seats now before it's too late.
My mom's going to your Tampa seminar.
Is she?
Uh-huh.
God, I better be good now. The pressure's on Matt's mom is there. What if I tank?
I taught her how to heckle.
Dude, what if I tank and Matt's mom's in the
She's going to be sitting there the whole time like this.
So, you know why? Because that's what Matt does. Anytime I'm teaching someplace and Matt comes up like I'm in a booth at Photoshop World or WPPI or wherever I'm at, Matt stands in the crowd and as soon as I make eye contact, he looks at me like, you're bombing. This is not going well. All right, anyway, hope you'll go check those out. If you want to come to any one of those seminars, mine or Matt's, go to KelbyTrainingLive.com. I'm sorry.
KelbyOne.
KelbyOne? Who knows? KelbyOne, is it KelbyOne Live? I have no idea. I work here, but no one tells me anything. KelbyOne.com/live.
There we go.
There we go.
Topic.
Should photographers be licensed to practice as professionals? So I'm on Twitter and I see a very thought-provoking, not very provoking, very thought-provoking comment from a Twitter account at Photographers Edit. And this is back on February 2nd. And what they said was, I could read it on the screen if it was visible. There we go. What they said was, because they went a little further than I did. Should professional photographers be licensed like realtors? So I wrote back and said, well, what constitutes, good photography? Even professional photography is very subjective. Realty isn't. There's a certain set of rules. Can you complete this kind of contract? Do you do this? Do you do that? It's and then it comes down to whether you can sell houses or not, which is the marketing part.
Yeah.
But when you take your realty exam, they want to make sure that you understand the laws and the rules and things like that. And then if you can, then the rest, your success will be based on how good you are. But it's very specific. The rules of the state of Florida are blank to get a realty license.
Yeah.
But photography is different. And so they came back and then said, well, what is the distinction between a professional photographer and a hobbyist or a novice or an amateur photographer? And I said, that's what makes this question so tough.
Yeah, because if you think about it, like you take realty for an example. Like you said, the rules are pretty cut and dry. Follow step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And whether you like it or not, whether the consumer likes it or not, you've got to follow those steps to get a house.
Right.
But for photography, somebody can go to somebody's website and say, I don't really like that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But
very
I do
subjective.
like the way this person does it, and it's different because there is no set of rules. There is no set like you have to have this photo and you have to have this photo. You don't have those rules around photography.
Right, and that's why Ben Parsley, who made this comment here just before that we got into this topic, he knew what the topic was, so he wrote in. Ben wrote, "No, I don't believe photographers need to be licensed to practice as professionals. Do dancers? Do artists? Do musicians? Photography is an art form, and licensing an art form is nonsense." And you know, it's so weird because first what I want to unpack here, because I agree with Ben's thing on some level, but you know what it is? Here's what my problem is. I don't 100% agree with either side. I
could see benefits to both.
I can see benefits to both, but what I want to unpack first is, I do want to go on though. I'm sorry, I got a little off tack. So when I was going back and forth with Photographers Edit, a guy jumps in named Glenn Berry, nice guy, writes, "I think the ability to acquire degrees, list your work history, and to show a portfolio is plenty enough." I wrote back, "So what you're saying is if somebody doesn't have a degree, they can't be a professional? Because some of the best photographers I know don't have a photography degree." You know who doesn't have a photography degree? Joe McNally. Mm-hmm. So Joe shouldn't be allowed. What do you think, Brad? Should Joe be allowed to shoot as a professional? He doesn't have a degree. So
well, let me ask you, I need to take it further. I mean, you're what, the best-selling photography book author,
right?
Correct?
I don't have a license to write books.
Do you have a license to write books, or do you have a license to photograph?
No.
Did you have a degree? Did you go to school for photography?
No.
So, but you're the best-selling photography book author in the world, right?
I know. I actually wish I had taken a course on writing books at some point, because
it would have been easier.
Had I known that I was going to write so many books. No. And you know, I do commercial work. I license my images. I do all kinds of stuff. But besides that, it's weird because, first off, let's ask this question: what is a photography professional? What is a professional in general? A professional, I usually think, is someone that can charge for what other people do for free, right? Mm-hmm. So even though you may not be a very good wedding photographer, if 3 people pay you to shoot weddings, you are now a professional wedding photographer. And I think what the problem is people have kind of taken the word professional, which means I make money at it, and said, no, professional quality means you're very good. But they're really two different things. And I guess the thinking is, well, you wouldn't be getting money if you aren't any good. But we know for a fact in photography, that is not always the case. So
I wonder if the original thought, you can't practice photography? Because like a lawyer, you can't practice law.
Hey, there's a guy that says that here, Wumpus.
But with like a painter, you could be licensed or you could not. I could hire a licensed painter or I could not hire a licensed painter.
You mean like a house painter?
Yeah, like a house painter. And it's at my discretion whether I want to or not. You know, with the license you think comes along credibility and all these different things, but I could go hire a non-licensed house painter. And
is it possible that a non-licensed house painter would be actually a better quality painter than the licensed one that shows up? Absolutely, right?
My dad painted houses his entire life, and I would trust nobody else to paint a house than him. And he never had a license.
Never had a license. Wumpus says, I used to be a lawyer. He says, okay, well, I guess I still am, right? It is proper to license a lawyer for consumer protection. Unless the lawyer has a public record of disciplinary action, you don't know how good he or she is. Whereas with the photographer, presumably, you can view their portfolio and determine if that style suits you. So I don't think licensing is needed. Professional licensing is about minimum standards. Licensing will not make a photographer better. Right. So you know what I think a lot of this is being fed from? Oh, well, okay. Well, Wumpus is a woman. Okay. Not a man. Did I say he? Sorry. She. Wumpus. How about Wumpusette? Anyway, no, you don't have to change your Twitter handle. So I think I lost my train of thought with the Wumpus thing. I think nothing. Hey, we did take a poll. So the poll was on the chat here. And the poll was basically 75% no, Brad? Basically something around like that. 3/4 said no, we shouldn't be licensed. right? And it's a non-scientific poll, and by that I mean it's like every poll ever done. There are organizations with different requirements for pros, but many very good to great photographers don't belong to them. Quality of work is what's important. Many customers don't know or care about outstanding quality. You know, that's one of the hardest things. People have been asking us, well, what can we do to get people to care about quality? You can't get people to care about quality.
Yeah, like, you know, how do I sell this to my customers?
Right. I mean, it's like, really, how do you convince anybody about quality, not just in photography, but in anything? It's a very, very hard thing to get someone to go, oh, I'm willing to pay more because I want this. And you know what it is, too? It's a part of it is that your average person, if you said, is this a good photograph? Whatever it is, they'd probably say, yeah.
Yeah.
They don't go, oh no, that's bad. The lighting's all wrong. This is all. They don't know. It's just like, yeah, all photos look good to me. Yeah, it looks good.
So and I have an old analogy to that because I used to be in construction equipment sales.
Yeah.
And a lot of rentals too. So we did sales and rentals. So I worked at a Caterpillar dealer. And Caterpillar is kind of known as like the Cadillac of construction equipment. Well, we would compete. I'd be out on a job site, and maybe there was an 8-month job going on, and this person wanted to rent a backhoe for 8 months, which is a good deal. Like as a salesperson, like you wanted that gig, and I'd be out there and I'd be competing with a competitor that had ABC brand backhoe. We had Caterpillar, and I'd sit there and be talking to this person, and I'd be like, "How much is it?" And be like, "It's $500." And he's like, "Oh yeah, theirs is $350." I'm like, yeah, but this is Caterpillar. The quality, this and that, you know.
And they're like,
theirs is $350. You know what would get them?
What?
Is the way we did our billing. We'd bill. Most of our competitors billed on 28-day cycles, and if you rented for 8 months, you almost paid like another month or two. We billed on full month cycles. So as soon as I reverted off of quality to, well, hey, we have full month billing. They're like, oh, okay. Because it was cheaper, but this
right. You had to find
quality.
your unique selling proposition.
But you can't. Like people aren't going to buy that because they think just by the fact that you're out there and you're practicing is quality. Like you have to have good quality.
No, and it is really super tough. Hey, you know, Kristen Hakes is put a comment here, and it looks like she's taking the other side, which is good because I'm not fully on one side or the other. I think it wouldn't be a bad thing. It may give more respect to the profession if you had to have a license. It could also provide a small barrier to entry for those wanting to advertise as a business. It can also protect consumers from faux photographers. Think of it this way. A cosmetologist has to have a license to practice. Does that stop people from cutting their own kids' hair or relatives if they're semi-decent at it? Absolutely not. Does it prevent that person from advertising themselves as a hairstylist for public hire? High probability. So here's the thing, Kristen. Okay, let's just say that we say, okay, we're going to make licensing a thing. Can I let the government decide?
Yeah, who gets to decide?
So, Kristen, the government's going to look at your photography and decide whether they think you should be able to charge for it or not. I mean, really, so you're going to have the government decide, a government agency decide whether your work fits the criteria that they decided.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's where the biggest problem is, and you know what I think what we want? I think what a lot of people want, can I just say it? Because it's going to be controversial, but I think a lot of people want a way to keep people out of
the business.
Yeah. I think that a lot of people go, hey, look, I'm a real photographer. These people are clowns. I'm losing jobs to a soccer mom who isn't really trained, didn't go through this stuff, doesn't have the credentials, doesn't have the background, but I lost 7 jobs to her last year. So if we have to be licensed, she's probably not going to get the license. I'll get it, and then she'll have to stop, and I'll get all those 7 jobs that I lost to her last year. I really think that there is it's not everybody, but there's a group of people that would love to have the license to keep unwanted competition out, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I would have to limit it.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's going to be the government who decides. Now, I will tell you this. Somebody sent me today when I mentioned this was our topic. Actually, the person that sent it to me is Kyle Simpson, so thank you, Kyle. Kyle sent a list of questions that the PPA uses for their Certified Professional Photographer program. We printed them out here. Now, this is a sample test. And I want to read you a couple of their questions. Can you read number 15 first? This is my favorite.
Sure. Yeah, number 15 is good. Which of the following series would best represent the aperture setting in 1/2 stop increments?
Is it A,
22, 11, 5.5, 2.7, 1.3. B, 22, 16, 11, 8.56. C, 22, 19, 16, 13, 11. D, 22, 20, 18, 16, 14. C?
Well, let's say that you got the answer right, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Let's say that it's C and you got it right. So you're a good photographer now?
Yeah.
That's the problem with any of these. This is nothing against PPA. I love PPA, and I support them wholeheartedly, think they do a great job. And they're giving you a good sample of what you can expect, but what else could they do? You know, now, I happen to know that this isn't all to becoming a CPP.
No.
You don't just pass this and there's a portfolio review, there's more to it, and there should be. And I think what they're doing is a good service, so don't get me wrong. They are trying to create in the industry some level of something you can put on your resume, you know, and that you can use to say, no, look, I do know my back end of this. But let me tell you what, I know people that have passed this test, that are certified. You know, I know people that are master photographers that you wouldn't have them shoot your wedding. You wouldn't have them shoot your kid's birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
They've passed the test. They've passed the board. They've done the whole thing. And I know them personally, and I can tell you, you wouldn't have them do it.
And the PPA in many ways does, I don't want to say they do what licensing and certification does, but you know, they have a lot of consumer protection. Like if you hired a PPA photographer and they shot your wedding poorly, they try to make things right too. So
yeah, I'm not trying to poo-poo what they did. I'm just saying is whatever you do, it's like the Photoshop tests, even the Photoshop exams and stuff. You know, it's all just sticky stuff. It's always going to be such a. Read a couple more questions just so people.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I thought this. I thought this one was. Where'd it go? A client wants to enlarge a 10 by 15 at 250 ppi to a 24 by 36 at 250 ppi. What is the process that results in filling in pixels for lost data? And you know what it is? You know what I thought was funny about this question?
It's missing an E that says use on one's perfect resize.
yeah, because A, bit depth, B, interpolation, C, optical, D, contingent, whatever. But you know what it is? None of those answers, like the actual way, all that is what's going on behind the scenes in the algorithm.
Yeah.
None of those answers say, go to Photoshop, go to image, go down to image size, and type in your new thing. Because that's the way to do it. This is saying, do you know the algorithm in the computer processing behind of what they call it?
Right.
And that I don't think
and it still needs number
knowing.
E because really you wouldn't even do that in Photoshop.
Yeah, but I think certifications help demonstrate a proficiency in something. I think it can help give people to at least say, hey, you know what it is? Certification shows commitment.
That's true.
It doesn't show anything else, but
it doesn't
show anything else other than a commitment to say, I took this serious enough to go out and get a certification, just like the Photoshop
I like that.
test.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I like that. Rob Feiner, you have bad plumbers, building contractors, bad lawyers, etc., who are all licensed. Being licensed is not necessarily the issue. The issue is having a way to educate consumers looking for a professional photographer as to the difference between what a pro is versus an amateur. There's the PPA certification course, which if you pass can highlight you as a PPA certified photographer, but does it have meaning to the general public looking for photography services? So Rob, this is what's so hard about this, and I wish there was a way. You know, I wish there was a way that we could really, how do you educate the public? So Rob, I'm agreeing with you, right? And hey, I want to make it really, really, really clear. I'm not saying anything bad about the PPA. I love the PPA. I'm glad they're doing this. I wish I was doing it. So I don't want you to take that wrong, because I agree with what you're saying that there are bad plumbers, and they're all licensed. How do we, that's the biggest challenge we have. And do you know what a good thing it would be for photography in general if we could somehow explain to the public, this is what you're looking for your wedding photo. And if you're willing to take less, then, well, okay. However, this is,
This is the goal. This is what you should be aiming for.
This is the goal, and this is what you should be aiming for. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
so,
and like
man,
construction,
how do you do that, though? Because you don't have to do that in construction. Nobody has to say, this is a good contractor, this is a bad contractor. You'll never know till it's too late. But there's so many, same thing with a lawyer, like the gentleman was saying earlier. No, it wasn't a gentleman. like the woman was saying earlier, is just because you're a licensed lawyer, you can be terrible. I mean, you can be an awful lawyer. You can be, an ambulance chaser. You can just, you can go into court and lose cases. All we can have a horrible record. But it's just so tough. Rob, you opened up the can of worms that I wish I could tackle. I wish if there was do you know what a good thing we could do for the photography community if we could figure out the way to educate the public. Now, you know what you'd really need to do that is something you'd almost need, just like the anti-smoking coalition does. And by the way, high five to all those people. But they put on ads that really make you think. Television ads, print ads, they're all over, they're everywhere. You would need somebody with government kind of money to say, we're going to put $50 million into educating the public on how a professional photographer acts, what kind of images you can expect from a professional photographer, and really let people know, but it's never going to happen. Robin, you're in my lifetime, there will probably never be a situation where someone spends a significant amount of money to educate the public on what makes a good photograph.
Yeah. And Diane A says, so I'm still trying to figure out what the problem we're trying to solve with licensing. And it's kind of, so who wants the license? Photographers?
Photographers who are making a living now want licensing because it will keep people out. And just say it's okay. You can admit it. We understand. We're in this together. And I don't blame you, because if you're trying to make a living, your job is to feed your family and to squash the competition. So if you think, if we do licensing, I'm a pro, I'm going to get this for sure, then that's going to keep all these people out of here. This next one says, Out of Your Mind says, from a boudoir/glamour point of view, having a licensed photographer will help cut out a lot of the perverts just trying to see scantily clad women. It will, because when you have to get a license, all of a sudden the bottom falls out.
Yeah, and there would be a question on the test that said, "Are you a pervert?"
Yeah, it would be absolutely
Say no.
Are you a perv? Yeah, but you know what it is? It won't stop amateurs from doing it. And by the way, they're
just like hairstyling.
Yeah, just like everything else, it won't stop amateurs from still doing it. And I would say that the majority of that is probably done by amateurs. It's not done by working professionals. All right, Matt Dobler. The real problem is that a lot of bad photographers are good at business, and most people can't tell the difference. Also, we need to differentiate between licensed to practice art and licensed to practice business. Hey, Matt, boy, you said a mouthful there. Can I tell you something? I remember going by a photographer's website. Somebody sent me a link, and they were kind of being a little snarky. They sent me this guy's link, and they wanted me to read his about page first. And I read the about page, and it was like, I've been doing this for 30 years. He's going on and on about his photography and about how these other photographers are so bad. And he's, that don't hire one of these losers that goes out and takes your, and we just basically attacked everybody else, talked about 30 years and stuff. But I had to see that before I was allowed to see the pictures. And when you actually saw the work he was doing, it was the worst stuff you've ever seen. You're like,
this.
Oh my, I said it to Matt. Matt, you have to see this.
It's so bad.
It was bad on a level that you can't believe. Reading his about page, I was expecting to turn the page and boom, there's Cliff Mountain or like quality pictures. But you turn the page and it was like, this is his first wedding and he has no clue and doesn't understand lighting or posing or composition, knows nothing. It was like he's an equestrian photographer, only been shooting horses for 2 months and got his first wedding. It was just unbelievable. So, and that's the problem, man. It's so I hear you, Matt. It's, his about page would make you think, I got to hire this guy. This is the kind of guy I want doing my wedding. Then you look at the pictures and you're like, okay.
We just lost our screen.
We did. Okay, it's back. All right, Andrew.
Brad pulled the plug out, didn't you?
Andrew Trevette. Licensing doesn't necessarily mean someone is reviewing your portfolio and proving quality, but it could indicate, like a college degree, that they've had a base level of training. You know what, though? There's a lot of people that have a base level of training that are just horrendous. And there's also people, you know what else, too? There are people that are brand new to photography that pick up a camera and just shoot their butts off. There are people, you know what it is? This is something we don't talk about. You know what we don't talk about on this show?
Love.
But what else? That always answers love. You know what we don't talk about enough? And it's just general. We do not, as photographers, ever want to pretend that talent has anything to do with this. We want to pretend that everybody that buys a DSLR is a pretty good photographer. We're all just pretty good. We're all above average drivers. We're all good photographers. Yeah. I never met anyone at one of my seminars that walks up and says, look, I'm really, really bad. I have people that say they're new. I just started this. I'm still learning. But nobody goes, you know what? I suck at this. I'm really, really bad. But there are tons of people that suck at it. Go look on Flickr. You'll see you'll see people that are really, really serious about photography, really passionate about photography that suck butt. They're horrible. And then you'll see people that are just like, I just got my first camera, and they're taking stuff right out of the box. Yeah. They have no idea what they're doing, and it looks absolutely fantastic. People have talent. But in photography, we're not allowed to talk about it. You're allowed to talk about it in art. You're allowed to talk about it in illustration. You're allowed to talk about it in any other field of art except for photography. We're all the same. We're all really good. Yeah. Why is that?
Because how many times do you hear it's art? You can't take a bad photograph. It's art.
Yeah, you can. You can take horrendously bad photographs.
And people hide behind it. People hide behind the art word. They say it's art. You can't critique it because it's art. It's all in the eye of the person that took the photo.
You might be able to say that for fine art photography on some level, but we just don't talk about that. And that's I think what part of this big problem is that no one's really going to step forward and say, look, kid, you suck. You're not any good. Your photography stinks.
You're not getting a license.
You're not getting a license. You're just not good. Because like they said, you could take the test and you could show a baseline of it and you could stink. I mean, I know some people that they've dedicated their lives to this, and they just can't take a good picture. And okay, Brad says, here we go. Oh yeah, Jeremy Cowart, who was a wonderful photographer, so good I hate him. Jeremy Cowart was working as a professional photographer a year before he found out that there was a light meter built into the camera. He publicly tells this story, so I'm not out. I've heard him tell that exact same story. Yeah. He didn't even realize that there was a meter inside. But you know what? That year of him taking pictures, he was crushing it. He was killing it because Jeremy Cowart is absolutely blessed with tons of natural talent. So much so that I kid you not, we're in San Francisco at the Google Plus conference. We're at this on-location shoot. We have all these people in this on-location shoot. I'm shooting a BMW. Matt's over there shooting. We have a group of people with us. Matt's shooting. And Jeremy's just over there in the corner with one of the assistants from the model shoot. So we have all these different shoots going on. Everybody's going from bay to bay, and we're teaching and letting everybody shoot. And Jeremy's over there shooting. Brad comes over to me and goes, you got to see this. So I go over there. Here's what Jeremy has: a flash and a softbox this big. That's it, right? It was like a Elastilite softbox. And Brad stops Jeremy and says, show Scott what you're getting. And I look over there and I'm like, that's talent right there. Jeremy's got nothing. He's got nothing. He's got an assistant and a softbox this big. The shots look absolutely unbelievable. The lighting is incredible. The expressions he's getting. This is a professional model. This was the assistant guy, not a woman, assistant guy from the other shoot. Pulled over here. Dude, it was, that's talent. And nobody's talking about that stuff. All this licensing and all that crap and all, it doesn't matter. Because if Jeremy could not pass this test, he can shoot rings around almost everybody that could.
And so, is it Cusi Taylor?
Yeah, Cusi Taylor, sure.
Cusi Taylor. So this is interesting. Licensing should be reserved for professions that impact safety of health and property. Taking a bad photo doesn't endanger anyone.
We were talking about this earlier. It's not medical.
Yeah.
It's also not cutting hair, because you could cut somebody's hair and it could create tremendous mental angst for them. If you give, say, my son a bad haircut, he's in high school. It would create tremendous emotional impact.
Well, take that out of the fact. If you gave someone who worked in a professional job position a bad haircut, how could it affect their job?
Absolutely. Look at you. You're an on-air personality. If someone gave you a bad haircut, maybe a mohawk, perhaps.
I was thinking of getting one, actually.
I know he was. Ken Powell. Here we go.
Well, Brad, no, unless you forget to put sandbags on a light stand, it falls over on the subject.
Ken Powell, this is very good. This is cute. So what is the criteria for being considered professional? Cat photo, -2. Rule of thirds, +1. In focus, +2. Train tracks, -1. Dead tree, fail. Ken, you obviously watched the show.
That was one of the questions on this.
Was it?
Yeah. Why are leading lines used in a photograph? to draw attention to the subject, to divide the photograph into thirds, to lead the viewer's eye to the background, to create a horizontally pleasing photograph.
Ooh, horizontally pleasing.
Horizontally pleasing.
Versus the vertical pleasing. Hey, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we've got more of your lots of great comments today, guys. You are crushing it on the comments. Hey, also, can I say something before we go to the break? I want to thank everybody that shared today when I said we were going to. A lot of people, we had a lot of shares today of people like passing on the word, letting them know about the show. Thank you guys very much. I really very much appreciate everybody on Facebook and Google Plus and Twitter that shared and retweeted and stuff. Thank you. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, Matt will still be right there.
Without a mohawk.
Maybe you will have a mohawk.
When it comes to being a photographer, there are no shortage of online networks waiting for you to share your images, interact with others, and potentially grow your business. From Google Plus to Facebook, Twitter to Instagram, 500 pics to Flickr, you have more options at your disposal now than ever before. Join me, Kelby Brown, as we discuss the ins and outs of various social networks, and I walk you through the process of creating your very own social media strategy.
Hey everybody, we are back live on the grid, and our topic today, should there be a certification or a license for photographers?
Like there are for realtors.
Yeah. Good comments too. Great. In fact, I'd say this is probably some of the most feedback that we've gotten on a show in a long time too.
Yeah. Well, because when we do like critiques, everybody pretty much either agrees with the critique or they, you're like, yeah, that's kind of bad, or like, no, that photo's not that bad, or whatever, or that's a good photo. Hey, just want to make a quick mention. You just saw Kelby Brown's
promotional video.
Kelby did a great job with that. I saw so many comments when that class was released. So if you're a photographer, you want to see how to grow your business and how to grow your audience, and all that stuff. That's what that class is all about.
He breaks it down too. The whole reason Kelby was here doing that is that I think it was RC and I were on a panel with him, and there's 400 people out in the audience, and we're talking about it, and Kelby just pulls out. He's like, well, you have to know that, 2:30 p.m. is the best time to do this. And statistics show that 17% of the people do this and 18% of the people.
Oh, he's got all the stats to back it up.
But he said it, the way he said it and the authority and what he was able to back up. RC and I were sitting there and we're just like, jaws drop. And we're like, we got to get him to do a class.
Well, you can't argue with his success on social media has been phenomenal.
Yeah, he knows it on a level that not
and
many people
he's a
do.
really good photographer. Now, I don't know if Kelby has a degree. But let me tell you what, you can have him shoot anything. He'll do a good job on it. He's a very good photographer, very nice person, very good guy, and obviously very intelligent. So go to KelbyOne, watch his class. It's there.
All right. Kristen Hakes. So Kristen says, of course there is going to be cheats and it doesn't guarantee. Now you have people stealing work and claiming it as their own to sell themselves. Heck, you even have educators stealing content nowadays.
Yeah. We know both of the things that you're referring to there, and it does happen. Luckily, it doesn't happen a whole lot. You don't really have either one of those. They have caught people like going and taking fabulous wedding out shots and putting them up there, but that exists in every genre. It's like people will show on their website pools they've installed and they haven't installed a pool yet. They'll say, they'll show all these great pictures and it implies that, oh, well, these are jobs that you've done. And no, you got those from iStock.
Yeah.
Lori.
This is an interesting one. So why don't we have an Angie's List for photography?
We could call it Brad's List.
I like that.
Brad's List.
Brady's List.
Brado's List.
Brado.
Bradolicious.
Do you use Angie's List?
Do I?
Yeah.
Okay, this is going to sound so stupid. I'm not kidding you. I feel like Jeremy Coward here. I didn't know there was an Angie's List till 30 days ago. I knew there was a Craigslist.
Really?
Dude, I'd never heard of it. My wife mentions Angie's List. I'm like, what's Angie's List? She's like, you've never heard of Angie's List? And like, I kid you not, the next day I saw a television ad for Angie's List.
She can't talk. Wasn't she the one that never heard of Swedish Fish?
That's true. No, I'd never heard of Swedish Fish.
Oh my God, dude, you never heard of Swedish Fish and Angie's List until 30 days ago.
Dude, look, this is what I do.
This
is what I do. I sit in meetings and I do this. What?
So you know why I like Jeremy's story? Because I was in Jeremy's same boat. I didn't know for years that there was a built-in meter inside of the camera.
Well, I only knew because of the old days. The olden days.
Olden days.
Dude, I used to carry him an ultra light meter Like, I was glued to that thing because if you didn't have a light meter back in the day and you were using any kind of studio light, you'd never get an exposure right. Florian, the problem is photography is so subjective. And what one person likes in a photo, someone else does not. When it comes to hiring a photographer for a wedding, for example, price is a strong consideration in part of the wedding budget. So a licensed photographer won't prevent someone from hiring someone who costs less and maybe an amateur by the pro licensed photographer's definition. If the consumer likes their sample photos, they'll go with a lower cost. Unfortunately, very few people, besides maybe Matt, have no budget for photography. Like they just go, whatever it costs, right? That's Matt. Matt, it's not just for photography. Matt's whatever he wants to buy, there is no budget. But I think most people are very budget driven. I think like, all right, we're going to do a wedding. How much money do we have for the photographer? We can spend $3,000. And then you try to get the best $3,000 photographer. Or if you have $750, I'm going to get the best $750 photographer. You know what happens in a ton of weddings? There is no budget for a photographer. Then it's like, well, who do we know that has a good camera?
Yeah, holy crap, they want $2,000?
They want $2,000.
So RC's got an interesting point here. So he says, I think botching the most important moment of a couple's life, a wedding, can totally count as complete mental anguish. And you know, in some ways, if you look at that, because if you look at, you know, let's say it's an expensive wedding, you know, $25,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, and you screw that up, that can be worse than a licensed contractor screwing up maybe a small bathroom remodel or something like that.
Oh yeah, no.
You know what I mean? Like think about the money impact.
Well, there is no redo for a wedding. Yeah. The wedding happens when it happens. It's right then and there. And you know, when oftentimes that is such an important day. It hopefully only happens once in your life. For Matt, it's 4. But hopefully.
Hey.
Just kidding.
That second one doesn't count.
Oh, that's right. That was just one of those Vegas overnight things.
We're in Vegas.
It was in Vegas. It doesn't even matter.
Yes.
Anyway, but
there were drinks involved.
There were many drinks involved. But I completely lost my train of thought now. Let's quick go to Mikael Elbeck. Wouldn't any kind of licensing photographers also be aesthetically limiting? And wouldn't that force forward some sort of counterculture among photographers for the field to truly evolve? Mikael, can I tell you something? I have no idea what any of that means. It's a lot of good words. Counterculture, I don't.
Aesthetically limiting.
You need to bring it down for Matt and I. You need to use small words, 3 letters, 4 letters, 1 or 2 syllables, tops.
Joe's not on the show this week.
Joe's not.
Yeah,
Joe has his degree in journalism. He's a tremendous writer. But I tell you what, he has a couple of really good words. One of them's Latin, veritas. He uses veritas a lot. It gets gravitas. You know, it has weight. It has veritas is not gravitas.
So
there's also horseshoe toss.
Yeah. So Mikael, so if there was a license, I guess he's saying that.
Well, if you're a licensed wedding photographer, now you're aesthetically limiting. Now
maybe you'd have some really good photographers out there that couldn't shoot your wedding because they didn't get the license.
Yeah, well, you know what's interesting? I wonder if, well, here's the thing. This is what's interesting, and I don't know if we really talked about this. So licensing doesn't mean you can't charge money, does it? It just means you're licensed, because you can still charge money if you're not a licensed cosmetologist. You can still cut people's hair and charge $20. You may not be able to go to a salon and get a job, right? Or would you? I don't know. Do salons only hire licensed cosmetologists?
I always see licenses there, but I never ask.
Oh yeah, you do always see a license there, and the license is given by the state of Florida, right? Now, if you live in a different state, what's odd is it's still given by the state of Florida. No, but you're right, because when I go to get my hair cut, which happens once every 4 years, whether I need it or not, there's her picture, and there's a whole state of Florida licensing thing there. Interesting.
I mean, so I guess if you were really good, you'd go get a license.
Well, I think if you were counting on making money, you'd go get a license. And it will. You know what it will? It will raise the bar to entry for a lot of people. That's why I can't pick a side on this, because I think that would kind of be good. It would help professionals. And you know what? Professionals are really struggling. You can't really talk to anybody in any genre of photography that tells you, oh man, we are tonning it. We're just making money left and right because they'll all tell you, oh man, it's really tough to make a living. Every Joe Bob that's got a camera now is one of our competitors. And hey, we got a comment coming in here from my favorite viewer. Hold on. Here it is. My favorite viewer. Just as with musicians, singers, dancers, painters, the most talented person isn't always the most successful person. It has to do with how hungry you are, how hard you're willing to work. Are you good at networking, and on and on and on. Licensing wouldn't address any of those things. My humble opinion is that it would just add an unnecessary layer. And that is from my wife, Calibra, so I agree with it 100%. She's my favorite viewer of all time. No, but she does make a great point. It reminds me of a talk I had with the drummer once that I was playing with. It was in a band, and he was very, very frustrated. And I think he'd actually gone on to a couple other bands, but he was always struggling to make a living. And I finally sat him down and I said, can I tell you something about drumming? And it's this. Drummers are stupid. No, I'm just kidding. I'm a drummer myself, and it's just a joke.
Joke.
Okay. Boy, I heard a really good one the other day. It was a great drummer joke. My son's a drummer, and he always has drummer jokes for me. But anyway, I had to sit him down and go, you know what the problem with being a musician is? The problem is, and we actually lived this in one area, the problem with being a musician is different than sports. If you are the best tennis player in America, you're ranked #1 and you're rich, right? If you are the #1 quarterback in America, everybody knows it, you're rich. If you are the #1 guitar player in America, you literally can be a bar back in a local pub. And
or singer.
Or whatever it is. And the reason I know this is because one of the best guitar players in America, we met as a bar back at a club we were playing in. This guy is literally sends up a note, hey, I'd like to sit in with you guys. I'm a guitar player. And every time somebody in a bar says, I play guitar, you're always like, sure you are. Yeah. We did not know at the time that he just graduated from the Berklee School of Music. The only reason why he was bar backing is he didn't want to be in frozen tundra of Boston. Wanted to come to Florida and went to the beach and literally just needed some kind of job to hold him over. And he came up on stage and played, and he just absolutely was just so far above us. I mean, he was up in the stratosphere. Even today, he's got CDs that have been celebrated. Jazz's magazine writes about him. He's a professor of guitar. Wow. All these years later, I mean, he's just an incredible guy.
What's his name?
Barry Green. Just fantastic, Greene, and just an unbelievable guitar player. And I mean, he was on stage like a few nights later at the Clearwater Jazz Festival with like Al Di Meola, and he's trading licks with him. I mean, he was doing big time stuff, and he's the bar back at the Holiday Inn on Clearwater Beach. That's art right there. The best artist, the best musician, the best singer. It's not like sports. Sports, '1. It's clear to everyone. You're making a ton of money. It's cut and dry.
You win.
This is art. Oh, look, there we go. Ken Powell says, is Ringo the best drummer? Maybe, maybe not. No, let me tell you what. Here's the thing. Ringo is not the best drummer. He's won the best drummer award for years and years and years. But being a drummer, I know all kinds of stuff about Ringo. Saw Ringo just recently, and Ringo had Ringo's drummer, because Ringo had a drummer on tour with him, so he'd come out in front and sing. Ringo's drummer was David Lee Roth's drummer, who had played with Maynard Ferguson's big jazz band. He wore this long, like David Lee Roth looking rock hair and stuff. That guy, Greg Bissonnet, that guy is an insane drummer, unbelievable drummer. And you know what I love about Greg Bissonnet? That's a smart guy, because Ringo's like, if you just saw Ringo play the other night on the Grammys, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, Greg Bissonnet is playing, and Greg Bissonet's insane, just doing this crazy stuff. And then Ringo would get on his drums across from Greg, and Greg would be like, oh my God, that's Ringo, woo! He was all like, yeah, dude, because Ringo is an icon. Ringo is a legend. Ringo is in the Beatles, All right, it's time for us to take a break.
All right, guys, I think I have to say it's time to take a break. I just heard from Brad that it's time to take a quickie. We'll be right back with Matt and the gang right here on the grid. Don't go away. It'll be a great, great show. I wish your name was John or Paul, but we'll have to go with just Matt Kloskowski.
Hi everybody, Scott Kelby here, and we are very excited to announce Creative Cloud Training Month here at KelbyOne.
Now, with over 1.5 million subscribers to the Adobe Creative Cloud, we wanted to get you some classes to get you up and running as fast as possible.
That's right, and for the entire month of February, we're going to be posting a new class every weekday. And we've got things on Illustrator and InDesign, and if you're into video, we've got you covered with After Effects, Prelude, and even Premiere Pro.
One of the great things about the Creative Cloud is you now have access to some incredible apps such as Behance and Cooler, and we've got classes for you on that to round out your Adobe Creative Cloud experience.
And if you're a photographer, you're gonna love our classes on Lightroom, Photoshop, and even Camera Raw.
If you want to learn about Bridge, Muse, or even Typekit, we've got you covered.
And it all starts February 1st, so come join us for Creative Cloud Training Month at KelbyOne.com.
Yeah, we're back. Scott Kelby here with Matt Kloskowski. Hey,
no.
Brad just
You
pulled
got him
over.
started.
Brad just pulled over a picture. He had actually shot Ringo's band, had a picture of Greg Bissonane. Just go over to BeMoreVisuals.com, and Brad's got all kinds of amazing concert photography over there. Greg at Bluefin Studio says people need to be licensed to do Ringo accents.
I second that.
Peace and love, Greg.
I second
All right, Martin Francis. Would Terry Richardson get a certification, do you think? Of course. Would, all right, so let's see. Mikhail Elbeck says, sorry, here we go again. Wouldn't a licensing system
This is the one that asked the words we couldn't understand.
Yeah, he had the long words. Here, wouldn't a licensing system somewhat limit what good photography would be considered? I guess it depends on what the license is. The license just says you can pass a test, and that someone looked at your images and they look okay.
Yeah.
Wouldn't stop you from competing. I guess it's a resume builder.
If you were really good, you wouldn't have anything to worry about. Right?
Yeah, I guess, you know what? I don't have an answer to this one. I mean, this is just, I can understand why people want licensing. I understand why 25% of the people in today's poll said they think licensing is a good idea.
So what does licensing get us?
It gets us a thing that says we're licensed. That's it. It says
What's it get the consumer?
And the consumer, they are looking in the yellow pages. They're looking for photographers, and it says licensed professional photographer. And you feel somewhat better. Like if you're looking at two ads, and one of them doesn't say licensed, and one of them says does, you figure we're going to go with the licensed one because they've been somehow vetted.
So
right?
Yeah, and I mean, but it doesn't. So if I'm licensed by the government, does that mean if I screw up a wedding, they can go sue the government and the government will pay them damages?
Of course not.
So, I mean, in some ways, we almost have it. Like
Adobe A certification, same thing.
If you're a PPA member,
right,
then could you not do an ad in the Yellow Pages? Which does anybody do an ad in the Yellow Pages? But
what are Yellow Pages?
I don't know. Could you not do whatever your ad and just say certified master craftsman, whatever? But I never ever liked that word. Craftsman. I don't know.
Really?
Whenever I see craftsman and photographer, when I see craft, I just think Sears. So I never liked that word.
Oh, you're thinking of Sears Craftsman tools.
Yeah, and I think
dude,
Sears,
those tools are good.
They are, but I don't think of Sears with my photography.
Have you ever had a Kenmore washer?
No.
Dude, they're stunning. Okay, here we go.
Anyway, so you said Adobe certification.
Yeah,
so
A certification. So A certification, there is a certification. It's not licensing, the certification program for that. If I'm looking at two people and one's A certified and one's not, you know which one I hire? The one whose portfolio looks better. But I think that's what we're thinking is this will give me some edge in the marketplace. This will give me something that would, push me to the top of the stack. And I think licensing, what we're hoping is, will keep. You know what it is? And this is the truth. We know it right now. There's a lot of people that are claiming to be professional photographers that are doing just a bad job. Their clients are unhappy with the work. The brides are miserable with what they got. It just happens. But
I don't
it's
think
not,
a license solves that.
It doesn't, and it's not just photography. I don't care what genre of anything that you're hiring. You know how many people you hire to do anything, to come and what do you call it? Pressure wash your walk.
Yeah.
Sometimes the guy's good. Next year the guy's terrible. The different guy. It's like they're all pressure washers.
And to bring it back around to the very first thing that you talked about on the show, which was the tweet from the guy that said, "Should there be licensed?"
Right.
I guess I would say it won't change anything. There's still things that are licensed people still get bad results from. You know,
Yep.
a licensed contractor, a licensed painter, a licensed builder, a licensed hairstylist.
Yep.
All of those things that are licensed, we still today get bad service from.
You know what, hairstylists, that's a really good one, because a hairstylist license is the closest to art.
Mm-hmm. Because it's subjective.
You can have a hairstylist that is fantastic, makes all kinds of money, works at the best salon in town, and you can have people that think she stinks. And vice versa. It is an art. Cutting hair is an art, and some people have natural talent and are wonderful at it. And there are people that have never had a class, never taken anything that cut art better, and that cut hair better than the licensed cosmetologists. Because there is the talent thing that we're not supposed to talk about in photography. It's okay to talk about anything else, just don't talk about talent. Hey, Kel, real quick, we have a deal for you. Well, we don't have a deal for you. One of our sponsors does. PeachPit every week gives a deal to our viewers. This one, PeachPit has an ebook deal on the book called 100% Kid by Allison Tyler Jones. It's 40% off the list price, which makes the book only like 22 something,
$24.
24 bucks.
Yeah.
It's 40% off though. That's pretty good. Go to peachpit.com/KelbyOne. Enter the code KelbyOne to get the 40% off discount. Thank you to PeachPit for number 1, sponsoring our show. Number 2, for publishing my books. Number 3, for giving the discount to our readers. All right, we just have a few minutes left, and by a few, let's read some about RC. RC's got some, and he's got a good point. A certification is a little different. The certification measures your skill in the operation of a program, Photoshop. It's not meant to show how creative you are in the operation of that program. If you need someone who's an expert at how to best use the program, you want someone certified. I'd hire a pilot versus someone who's really cool at playing in a plane cockpit. Dude, I look really professional in a plane cockpit. My wife can fly one. There's a name for me when I'm flying with her. Passenger. All right. Aaron, you can become members for all kinds of professional organizations, but it really only means something to other photographers. Clients have no idea what it means. You know what? For that matter, and I'm not recommending that you do this, but I know people do it all the time. They pad their resumes with all kinds of, I'm a certified master photographer. And you go, well, who certified you for that? Oh, my Uncle Bob. I know martial artists. You know martial artists that friends or a family member has made them a black belt.
Yeah.
You know, they said, okay, how long does it take for an average person? I know this. I remember a guy I knew. How long does it take to become a black belt? 4 years. All right. How long did it take you? 6 months. Well, my brother was a black belt, and we worked together, and I worked really hard. In 6 months, he gave me my black belt.
Yep.
I did all the stuff. I was able to pass the test.
Yeah, and to
that stuff happens.
To answer the one about, clients have no idea what it means. They don't have any idea what it means, but having that, I think can help. It shows commitment.
All right, Rich Cornwell. This is what the Better Business Bureau is for. It allows the consumer to check out any business and complaints against it. Let's do, and I have no idea what the answer to this is going to be, but I'm just going to take a shot at it. Matt, when was the last time you called the Better Business Bureau to check on a business before you hired them?
Never in my life.
Brad, when was the last time you called the Better Business Bureau to check on a business before you hired them?
They're on my speed dial.
Juan? No? No? Here's why. Nobody calls the Better Business Bureau. Nobody goes by the website. The Better Business Bureau, I can't even believe it's still around. Nothing against the Better Business Bureau, but it's like, can I tell you something? True story. We're pulling up to my house one day, and they've thrown on my driveway the yellow pages. And I'm trying to explain to my 17-year-old son what they are.
Yeah.
We used to go through this book. We used to actually flip through the pages. We used to actually look through here, and inside here, you would buy whoever had the biggest ad. You'd go call them first. Then the second page, you call them second. And I remember my father's business growing up. He absolutely lived and died by his placement in that book. And he had to buy the full page every single year, because if he didn't buy the exact same ad or bigger, and he dropped back one page, his sales would plummet. Because everybody called the first ad on the first page. And dude, one year, this was a pretty staggering thing for his business. The salesperson told him, no, you can go to a smaller ad as long as you have another ad somewhere in the book, and told him some wrong information. And he did fall back a page. Dude, it devastated their business. I mean, it was like the worst thing that had happened to them in 25 years, moving a page back to a smaller ad.
So you know what I think a lot of people do? And so it did back then and still do today is like, if we talked about the Better Business Bureau. If I need to get painting done on my house,
Sorry.
Yeah, I go to a friend. Hey,
yeah, who'd you use?
Wedding photographer. I think a lot of people go to a friend like, hey, who shot your wedding? So I think a lot of it still happens that way, and that's how we find people. So
no, you're right. It's very much like that. Brad says it's time for a break until next week. Hey, we have some giveaways. We want you to win stuff, free stuff. So go to KelbyOne.com/webcast/contest. And then you're going to, up the very front, you're going to say what show it is. It's the grid. You're going to put in your name. You're going to put in your email. You're going to leave us a comment about what you'd like to win. Would you like to win the KelbyOne thing? Would you like to win the book? Would you like to win a dream date with Matt Klaskowski?
Send now. They're like circling send now.
Circling. And then, oh, yes, of course. Click the send button. And when do we tell people they've won? We put it on the website, right, Brad? We tell them, we list it on the website, or we email them or something?
It's magic. It just happens.
You get an email. It's magic. It just happens. All right. Hey, I want to wrap up with just, can you move the break till next week? We got it. Thank you. I think we already read that one.
We read them all.
We read them all. We read them all.
So what did we decide at the end of this?
We decided it's undecided. You know what it is?
My vote is no.
My vote is no, too. I understand why some people want it, but if I had to take a vote of do we need licensing, because if you need licensing, it's going to be done by the government. I can't think of a whole bunch of things that I really want the government to handle, like they do such a crack job at it. Healthcare.
Hey, they're good at monitoring your phone calls.
They're monitoring your phone calls. They're very good at that.
Yeah. I was no-ish at the beginning of the show, but I'm no now.
Yeah.
And you guys, I'm over on the no side.
And you
now.
guys helped solidify my no. Your comments today solidified it. Hey, thank you guys for watching. If you want to learn more about Matt K, go to FBI.gov. No, go to MattK.com. And I'm at ScottKelby.com. Hey, I will tell you this. I've been doing a series of 30-second Photoshop tips every day. And when I say 30-second, I mean as much as 45 seconds, maybe 50. I think there was one was 55. But I try to keep them short, but it just never works. There's no audio, so don't complain that there's no audio. You just hear the clicking of the mouse. The reason why I do that is because I do it at home at my kitchen table. And so I don't have to set up a mic. I don't have to go to a studio. I don't have to do anything. I was just sitting there in my underwear. Oh, don't picture that. My jammies. And I make these posts. Anyway, I share them on Facebook and on Twitter. So on Facebook, it's facebook.com/SKelby. So it looks like Skelby. I share them on Twitter, Scott Kelby. And I share them on G+. G+, Scott Kelby.
Cool. Hey, can I commandeer for a second?
Please.
The show so
the show's over. You can actually take it out in the whole 9 hours.
I wrote a post over on my blog at Matt K today, so just go check it out because I'd love to hear your feedback. The Death Valley Facebook page posted a photo of the racetrack. You know those sailing stones, the stones.
Oh yeah.
They posted a photo that it had rained and someone walked all around.
Oh, I see it.
And it's just after they posted the photo, all the comments were just trashing all the people that walked around on there. So I kind of wrote a post about it just to kind of get people's feelings on that. You know, are the photographers wrong for getting mad at them? Were they wrong for walking on it?
They didn't do it intentionally, though. They weren't let's go screw it up.
You know what it is I don't think people, if you go look at the photo, there's footprints everywhere.
It looks terrible. I'm looking at it on your blog.
It does, but
it looks worse than when you described it to me.
I don't think like if you walked out there and it was wet, you'd think, oh, it's mud, it'll go away. But because of it's really clay and everything,
is there a sign? Is there a sign that says don't walk on this?
There is. It's not easy to. I've been there, and it's not easy to find. It's a big place, and you could easily miss the sign. But anyway, just some interesting comments on it. So.
And these rocks, they slide, right?
I guess because what happens is it rains and then it ices and then the winds, they get really high winds across there, and the winds blow those. I wish people could see your laptop. The winds blow those rocks along and kind of move them.
The winds blow the rocks. Here, let's see. I'll let them see it here.
Wow.
I don't have my, hold on, I gotta find the right video control room. Oh, there it is. See if you see my screen here in 5, 4, and by 3, 2, 1, I mean, hold on. Why, my screen looks all crazy. Hold on. One moment.
She's not.
Does she see it?
Control, there it is.
All right, there's the picture.
So that's the sailing stone.
That's the stone.
And it moves. And you think you could do it, like you think a person could do that? You couldn't. Number one, those stones are huge. Number two.
Like how big is that stone?
That stone is probably
Oh,
that
dude,
big.
I thought the stone was this big.
No, I did too before I went out there. I did too.
I thought.
I mean, dude, there's stones out there that are this big.
Brad says, nobody's watching anymore. Say whatever you want.
Yeah, there's stones out there that
You're mean, Brad.
that are really big. And even if you could pick it up and move it, it's a hard clay ground. You could never make that indentation yourself.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, Matt.
Yes.
This is Valentine's week. You know we don't talk about enough on this show?
Love.
Love. Should we do it now?
Yeah. Let's hold hands.
That's our cue to go. That's our. Hey, Brad
Take
says
care,
what
everybody.
the world needs now is love, sweet love.
All right. Say goodbye.
Bye, everybody. We'll see you next week right here in the grid. Take care. Bye. See you.